Welcome to a new video. In this video we are going to talk about list comprehensions. Before diving into list comprehensions, let's first see how you would typically create a list in Python. Now we are going to create a list of squares using a for loop. Let's say squared, and we will create an empty list like this, and we are going to say for index in range 1 to 10. So if we do like that, it's going to include 9 but not the 10. We will say squared append index multiplied by index, and we are going to print squares using for loop, and we are just going to print the squared here. Also, let's just make this 11 so it can look better, I guess. And we are going to have our list. I created an empty list called squared. Then I used a for loop to iterate through numbers from 1 to 10. It was 1 to 9, but I just changed it. I calculated the square of each number and appended it to the squares list. Finally, I printed out the list. Now we will be creating a list of even numbers using a for loop just like that. We will say even numbers, and this is going to be an empty list again. And then we will say for index in range, let's say 1 to 11 again, which will include 10 but not 11. If, and we will filter the even ones here like this, and we will do even numbers that append an index. And let's print this. Print even numbers using for loop, and we are going to print our list here. Here I've created another empty list called even numbers. I used a for loop again, but this time with an if condition to check if a number is. If it is, I append it to the list, and then I print the list. Now let's see how list comprehensions can make this process easier and more efficient. Now I'm going to use list comprehension to generate squares from 1 to 10. So let's say squares, and we will say index multiplied by index for index in range 1 to 11. And let's print this. Squares using list comprehension, and we will print our list here. In this single line of code, I did exactly what the for loop did in the previous example. Here the list comprehension iterates over each element index from 1 to 10 and calculates index multiplied by index, storing the result in the list square. So let's just create another list comprehension line to generate even numbers from 1 to 10. So what we'll do here is even numbers, and we will say index for index in range 1 to 11 if, and we are going to filter evens like this. Also, I need to use index here, and let's print this list. Even numbers using list comprehension. Even numbers. I've written a list comprehension that iterates through numbers 1 to 10, and it only adds a number to list even numbers if that number is. Now that you know the basics, let's add some conditional logic into our list comprehensions. Let's say even odd, and we are going to do even if the even condition here, and we will say else odd for index in range 1 to 11, which will take 10 but not 11. I'm just telling it again. List of even and odd, and let's print it. In this example, I have added an if-else condition within the list comprehension. It checks if the number is even or odd and appends the string even or odd to the list even odd. Now let's use list comprehension with multiple conditions. So I will say multiples, and I'm just going to open a list again. Index for index in range, let's say 1 to 51 here. I want a bigger data now. If I modulo 3, 0 or I modulo 5, 0. And let's print this. Print list of multiples of 3 and 5. And let's get the multiples here. Here I've used multiple conditions within the list comprehension. This time it checks if the number is a multiple of 3 or 5 and appends it to the list multiple. Now we are going to create a multiplication table using nested list comprehension. Let's say multiplication table, and we are going to do index multiplied by j for j in range 1 to 11, and this time we are going to say for index in range 1 to 11, and let's print this. Multiplication table, and we will say multiplication table here. So in the output you can see that we have 1 times 1, 2 times 1, 3 times 1, and here we have 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, and if we go like to the last element, 1 times 10, 2 times 10, 3 times 10, and here we have our multiplication table. In this example, I've used nested list comprehension to generate a multiplication table from 1 to 10. The outer loop iterates through numbers 1 to 10 for rows, and the inner loop iterates through numbers 1 to 10 for columns. That was all for this video. Thanks for watching. I'm creating content about data science and programming. You can subscribe for more. Have a great day.